All right, so let's set up a one-click upsell. I'm going to go through the 7 steps as I think are necessary for setting up a one-click upsell using only Infusionsoft. There are some third-party tools that might be able to do this more easily or even more elegantly, but for the sake of staying completely native within the walls of Infusionsoft, let me show you how it's done. So we're going to start with having at least 2 products, right? First product and upsell product, right? That's really all you need for this. You can do chained upsells or upsells and downsells that involve secondary and third upsell products, or if they don't take the first one, downsell them to something else. But for the sake of this demonstration, we're just going to do one product being purchased and then the second product being upsold. Okay, so that's where we're headed with this. I'm going to go through the 7 steps as they're outlined in this blog post, and I think it'll take me just a little bit less than 10 minutes or so. All right, so let's start in the e-commerce setup. Step 1 is we need to create a payment plan. So this is under the assumption that you already have a merchant account in place, right? So we'll just click add a payment plan, and this is our upsell payment plan. And of course, you don't need a finance charge. Number of payments is going to be 1. Days between payments is going to be 30. That's fine. It doesn't really impact this because there's only one payment. Days till start is 0. Then you choose your merchant account here. You don't need to mess with any of these other settings, but of course you can if you need to. And then go ahead and click save there. And once you click save, you're going to want to set up criteria. So here's a little pro tip for you. I usually do just criteria in the past, right? So today is December 14th, right? So I just set some criteria in the month of November, right? The reason we do that is so that this payment plan doesn't show up on any of our order forms or in the shopping cart, right? That way this payment plan is available for us to call, but it's not going to show up for our customers to choose from because really it's one payment, right? So it wouldn't make sense for that to show up on an order form. And then click save. So we have now created our upsell payment plan. That's step number 1. The reason we do that is going to be really clear to you in just a moment. But step number 2 is under marketing settings, we're going to create an action set. And this is primarily a legacy feature. There's not a whole lot of use cases that require action sets anymore, but generating an order is actually one of them. Right now, as of the recording of this video, you can't generate an order natively in the campaign builder. So we'll call this upsell order creation. And from the actions dropdown, you want to select create an order, right? Which isn't available currently in the campaign builder. That's why we're using the action set option. Now, if we had a bundle, we could select it right from here. But what I do is I just click save this action. And then on the secondary screen, we choose the product that we want to add as our upsell product. So upsell product, and then you click add. Now we need to select our payment plan. And this is why it came in critically that we set up our payment plan ahead of time, because that tells this action set how and when to process this order. So if we didn't have the one payment defined, it wouldn't know when or how to charge it. So that's why you need to create the payment plan first and then come create the action set. Now, if there's any of the other settings here that are pertinent to your order, go ahead and select them. But for the case of this demonstration, I don't need any of these other options. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And then we're going to review this upsell order creation. You could add additional actions to it if you need to. But for now, I don't need any of those other things. I'm just going to click save. So that's step number 2, which is creating our action set. For step number 3, we're going to jump into the campaign builder. And we'll go ahead and click create a campaign, and we'll call this upsell blog post. And if you're watching this video on YouTube or somewhere else, just know that this was originally used in a blog post on the Monkeypod blog. So this step just involves us adding a upsell offer page, which is going to be a landing page in this case, and then also adding a sequence. And it's in this sequence that we will actually create upsell order, right? And that's where the action set will be called. So that's pretty much it for step number 3, is just assembling the structure of this campaign. Now we're going to actually configure the landing page. Now there's obviously, dozens of ways that you can configure the landing page. You can really make it look however you like. But what we're going to do is just get rid of some of these pieces. So we don't need to gather any additional information. We're going to change the sign up button so that it says, place my order, right? Something like that. And then we'll say, buy the next thing, right? This is where our call to action goes. Over here, I would probably have my bullet points talking about the product, right? Benefit number 1, benefit number 2, and benefit number 3. And I couldn't have been less consistent with my capitalization there. So let's just fix that real quick. The other product, right? And you could put a video on here promoting it, right? You could design this page to look however you like. The one thing that you do need to have is a hidden field. Doesn't matter where it goes on here. And that hidden field needs to be set to email address. So let's click save. So buy the next thing, place my order. We've got their email address. The reason email address is important is because when this form is submitted, it's going to duplicate check using the person's email address. So it's important that we pass their email address through so it knows which contact to apply this form submission to, and then subsequently which contact should be added to the next sequence. So let's mark this as ready. Of course, you'd want to make sure that the thank you page has whatever, options make sense on here. I don't know why that logo is so big, but let's go ahead and get rid of it for the time being. So this would say thanks, contact for both those purchases, right? If they're seeing this page, that means they bought the original product as well as the upsell. So you could say whatever you want here. This could also be where you string it to another upsell. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Before you leave this page, you want to copy the landing page URL. Now, let's go back to our campaign and let's go ahead and configure the sequence. This is now step number 5. Once you've done the landing page, that's step number 4. Step number 5 is really straightforward. We just click on the process tab, we grab an action set, bring it right out, and go ahead and configure it. It's going to ask you to choose from your manually created action sets. So you might have a list here, or you might have just the one that we created. Create an order. If you want, you can say, I'm creating an order, something like that, but you don't really have to give them any context there. I'm going to rename this, so Upsell Order Creation, and then I'm going to set this sequence as ready. If you wanted, this is also where you could tag them, or send an email, or create a task for fulfillment. Anything else like that could be done in this sequence. But at the very bare minimum, you just add the action set that creates that order. Now, let's go ahead and publish this. This is step number 6. Once the sequence and the landing page are both marked as ready, this campaign is ready to publish. I know it's bare minimum, bare basics, but that's really all you need. I'm emphasizing the necessity here. That's really all you need, but you could do a lot more with this. Let's go back to our list. And step number 7 is to create an order form. So let's go ahead and jump in here to order forms. And this is going to be our first product, right? So first product, and this is what we're promoting. It's important that you use an order form because order forms allow you to dictate what is being sold. So in here, we'll add the first product, add that there, and click save. And then this is where we link it to the upsell page. So now on the thank you page, instead of building out a thank you page for them to see, what we're going to do is choose web address, and we'll paste in that URL that we copied. So that's the URL to the hosted version of the landing page. And then the last thing we do is check this box, pass contacts information to the thank you page, and click save. Now that's it. All 7 steps are completed. On the links tab here, we have a link to our order form. And what's going to happen is once they submit this order form, they'll see this thank you page, which is our upsell page. That's the landing page we built. It could have the bullet points. It could have a video promoting it. And if they click the button that says, yeah, place my order, right, it's going to grab that secondary offer, and then it's going to take them to the landing page's thank you page. So basically, we captured their information. We said, great, that's your purchase. And then hold on, would you also like this other thing, right? So we position the 2 products side by side, right? It's important that you make an offer that makes sense based on what you know about them. And that distinction right there is probably the biggest reason that you can't use the shopping cart, because the shopping cart only has one thank you page no matter what they purchase. With order forms, you can have an upsell that is, intelligent or specific to what you know that they're buying based on what you put on that form. So that's why order forms are so much better for upsells rather than using the shopping cart. Now that's it. If that does the trick for you, then you're all set. If you wanted to take this a level further, let's go back to the campaign builder. What you could do is dig in and create maybe a third one, right? So let's clone something like this. And instead of offering, that original one, we'll call this Upsell Offer 2. And we would just link this landing page to this one. So the thank you page on here, right? Instead of us having built out a thank you page that says thanks, we would set this to the web address of landing page number 2, http://landingpage2.com/offer2, or whatever that secondary URL was. So then they would go from the order form to this upsell page, and once they submitted it, we'd then have a second upsell offer for them. And of course, you'd need to create an action set for whatever product number 3 was, or upsell number 2, the second offer afterward would be. You don't need a second payment plan. You can use the same payment plan you used on the first one, but you can really do this in an infinite number of ways. Now, for downsells, it gets a little bit trickier. But basically, you'll want to add a link somewhere on this page that says, you know what, that's not for me, like a no thanks link, and have that link direct them somewhere else. It gets a little bit more complicated because you want to make sure that you're passing the email address through to the page that they click no thanks and then go to as well. I'm not going to dig into all that right now. Just know that that's how internal or native to Infusionsoft upsells work. Now, if you have questions about the regular e-commerce functionality, either setting up products or merchant accounts or the distinction between order forms and shopping carts, if you want to dig into any of those elements I touched on here, I really recommend checking out the Monkeypod e-commerce pod. It's a comprehensive course, 10 different modules covering every single aspect of the e-commerce component inside Infusionsoft. That's all I'm going to say about that. If you want it, I recommend grabbing it. Otherwise, if you have questions about the upsell process, please feel free to post them below this video. Peace.